Clarets TV catching up with Chelmsford City Reserves manager Marc Stephan. Marc, it's been quite a few months now since we last spoke, but how have you been in that time?
Busy. Very, very busy. We've been well, yeah, very well. Busy season, as you know yourself. Play lots of games, Youth Cup at the start of the season. We had a little break over Christmas, 2 weeks breaks, 2.5 weeks breaks, which I think was enjoyable for the players and the coaches as well. And then back straight on to the competition again, the league in January, early January, and we haven't stopped. We've been playing once, twice a week sometimes since then.
Yeah, we caught up before the season started, and now we're well into the second half. So how, thinking back to what you thought of the league then and how we were sort of taking our first steps with the reserves, how do you feel like we've lived up to that in that first half season?
Well, it was all learning curve. We were finding our ways, understand the league, the other teams, the style of football. Having a reserve to the club himself, it was something new, so we learned a lot before Christmas, up to Christmas. We're still learning lately the football style. We need to look in a different area in the pitch where we want to develop the players. It's been busy, it's been enjoyable, it's been difficult at times as well. There's a lot of effort behind the scene of the pitch during the week in organising training based on games, having the players as well on a weekly basis. Some group of players we try to keep as long as possible and work with them. That's where the challenge comes as well. It didn't happen so much around November, December, coming back January. Got different players in and out the squad, and this is due to playing lots of games. We have to rest players, academy games during the week. We played as well midweek. Injuries, it's been just before Christmas a big hit for us, which in ways is good because then take on older players, but you take 1, 2, 3, 4 players, then it's 4 different players the following week. Always the same players are training, but different players on a weekend. It can be challenging, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that discussion behind the scenes and organisation. Obviously there's quite a few players that play in the academy, then the reserves and in the first team as well, so it must take quite a lot of communication between yourselves and Mickey and Robbie during the week.
Mickey and Robbie, yeah. A lot. We slightly changed. We thought because we did miss out a little bit of communication, so I'm more based now to link directly to Mickey to me. So the number of messages a day is bonkers, and when you get to Wednesday, when they had their game, us training with the first team training on a Thursday, then communication is more messages, phone calls, and then it changed very often on the Friday once again. The injury, lots of illness, just bad flus, no major illness or injuries, but then it's changing again for squads for the Saturday, and it's the same with the first team. Injured players, ill players, then therefore we see what we want to take reserve players with the first team.
And then in terms of sort of looking on the pitch there, from obviously there's a lot of organisation that goes into it, and then you get on the pitch on a Saturday. How are you finding the Essex and Suffolk Border League, the Premier Division of that league, and how is the competition level in Step 7?
Challenging in the way it's men. Mostly because it's men, especially with the first year academy player, they're skilled, very skillful players, they have everything, they tick all the boxes, but when they have a man who's charging at them, when they have the ball, the physicality, the vocal, they're not horrible people at all, they're just players, is different than playing against an 18 or 19 years old. So lots of players have been challenged this way, but the best way really to work with them is just adapt the playing time when on a Saturday they feel strong enough to to complete that, then we keep them 90 minutes, whatever the time, and days they don't feel so confident and just a little bit less playing time. And
yeah, you're someone as well that's worked in youth football for a long time, so you know how people progress playing against people at their own age. So how do you see the difference in progression of our young players now that they're playing with men and against men?
Oh, it's massive, huge, and they realise themselves as well. And I think just before Christmas, our last game at Christmas, the team we played, which was White Nutley, which we played pre-season, play early in the season. On the day, I can't remember the result, it was 3-1 or maybe 4-2. But it could have been a 10-1 or 10-2. And it was exactly the same players, the same energy, the same physicality, but because the boys progressed since the pre-season we played them, it was a completely different game. And it was good to hear from them, from White Nutley, the changes on the player. Decision making, time to make the decision, everything. It's been huge, massive.
So in terms of sort of 6 to 8 months of men's football, our players now are really sort of striving to be getting ready for that first team, aren't they, and sort of moving towards that in such what is essentially a short period of time.
Yes. Is we're still thinking in that short period of time how much we achieve. It's probably done well. There's a lot done the coaching, so the feedback, the talking through the player more than the training session, but the game himself is what they needed. Once again, some develop it quicker than others. If I could take one player, for example, Alfie Gilbey, he just ignored the challenge. He's just kind of rage player. He needs those challenges, so he was ready from the start. Although his physicality becomes stronger, his decision making, how fast he played the ball, it has improved from the start of the season. But where you had some players we started, and then it was a little bit of drop for the reason I just explained. Now pick it up as well, pick it up, and as a group, I don't think we have anyone forward and some behind. I think everyone's just going forwards the way we wanted to, quicker than we thought, which is great.
Yeah, and in terms of the players as well, a real sort of surprise success story has been Edwino Vaz, who came into the reserves. You brought him in, and we've heard from Robbie on how he came into the first team, but can you tell us a bit on how he came into the reserves and how that process worked for him getting into the first team?
So Eddie was with Chelmsford Youth a couple of years ago. I remember that I didn't see him since he left, or for a couple of years now, COVID time really. So I always had my head the size he was at the time, because he was quite small, but he always had this energy, positive energy. He's a hard worker more than lots of players. He's never pleased with the performance. He can be happy, but he always strive for the best. He always seek feedback how to improve. So that was the picture I had of him. Then it was through Elliot, it was contacted, do you remember Eddie? Yeah, he's interested, and so on. By the time, so that was back in October, if I'm right, but he was coming back from an injury. So he took the time, he didn't want to force in, and then eventually come to the training, and within 20 minutes, half an hour, I do remember the training, we had a shooting training and a possession game. Within half an hour, I was like, oh gosh, oh dear, there is something there. There is something. So then he came back. He had planned an holiday in Portugal, so he went to Portugal, came back to training session, and I was with Elliot, was like, you got to play now. So play for the reserve. And at that point, that's when we start to mention it to Simo, there is a player there who needs to be looked at. So he played 2 games, and the second game we played, his performance was just exceptional. He had this level up to the other players on the day we played, but his his positive attitude. It was a tough game, but how he take positive, how in one stage, maybe in 60 minutes of the game, he turned, although he didn't directly assist the 2 goals we scored, he had a huge contribution to that, a huge impact to the team. And from that game, we thought we got Simo's got to look at him, and we told Simo, look at him. Feedback came back straight away. And now he's in the first team.
Yeah, so that is one of what of in a short period of time, again, it's a success story. Of the reserves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's showing its value, isn't it? But while player development is the most important thing, there's the league position as well in the Essex and Suffolk Board League. So how is that, and what is the goal now for the rest of the season?
So I did say at the start of the season, we do believe giving a challenge, competitive challenge within measure, is helping developing the player. Now, we never won in the game, we must win otherwise. Never. We have to win by doing so. And always feedback previous game. We had disappointed results, but when we say this, we had, is the group, is the player, so we seek their feedback before we tell ours, and it's always good to hear back from them, and it's just matching up what we think, and it's always then the question how we're going to change or how we can improve. I did say it finish top of the league, that was the target. We're probably not going to achieve that. Finish top third will be a great result, considering it's been years we haven't had a reserve playing this level of football. The average age 17 and a half years old, playing against men. So yeah,
Top 3.
It's been great. Yeah,
nice one. So yeah,
it's no disappointment at all.
No.
Be top of the league at all from anyone. So
brilliant. So best of luck for the rest of the season, Mark. It's been great to catch up. I'm sure we'll do again at the end of the season and see where things are after a year, instead of 6 months to 8 months.
Thank you, Andrew.